You're listening to the Fit Bottom Girls podcast, the only podcast for active, athletic, and adventurous women and those who aspire to be. We've got your back as you navigate the ups and the downs of motherhood, midlife, and menopause. I'm your host, Allison Hylett, here to remind you that female isn't fragile. I'm a strength, conditioning, and nutrition coach who's trained hundreds of women to achieve their goals to get fit, lift heavy, go the distance, and feel like a badass in every area of their lives. Each week, you'll hear from me and some of our awesome guests as we educate and empower you during each stage of your fitness journey, whether you're already crushing it, fighting to get back out there, or starting from day one. So friends, let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fit Bottom Girls podcast. Today, I am joined by Mackenzie Griffith, aka Coach Mac, and I'm so stoked to share this episode with you because creating durability and building a body that lasts a lifetime has been an obsession of mine for my entire career as an athlete and as a coach. And one of the biggest things that gets in the way of that for people is the all or nothing approach to health and fitness. They try to change too many things at once and basically try to overhaul their entire lives and then ultimately abandon those changes when they inevitably become too difficult to do on a daily basis. So in this conversation with Coach Mac, we propose that rather than having health and fitness be something where you're oscillating between quote unquote on track and off track, we instead learn to approach fitness in a more sustainable way because fitness is cumulative. So the longer that we're able to do something, however imperfect it may feel at the time, the more benefit we'll gain over time. And I cannot wait for you to meet Coach Mac. She is a millennial who spent her life trying to forge a body that can keep up with her penchant for adrenaline and mischief. In her online program, the Adventure Ready Academy, she guides active women and those who want to be through functional strength and stamina training with sustainable nutrition in order to streamline their time and energy so they have more freedom to go play in the world. So let's dive in. Welcome, Coach Mac. Thank you so much for being here.
Howdy. Hello. Good morning. First time caller, long time listener.
Yes. So you and I met about a year ago. We were in this group together and we all had to do a little intro post introducing ourselves to the group. And I remember reading yours and immediately thinking that you were someone that I needed to connect with. And that wasn't just because you seemed really cool and we're both in the health and fitness industry, but it was really because it came through in your introduction that our philosophies are both about using fitness as a quality of life enhancer and as a tool for building more durability to be able to do more active and adventurous shit in life.
Yeah, man. It's all about what you can do, right?
Yeah. Like being able to say yes to life in all the big ways and all the little ways too. Yeah. So today you are here to talk with me about one of my favorite subjects, which is building a body that lasts a lifetime, what you call creating an adventure ready body. Are you ready to dig into that?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. So we are going to start with what is involved in the process of building an adventure ready body.
Well, it changes a little bit for everyone because adventure means something different for everyone.
Sure.
I've got people in my program that are biking the Swiss Alps. I've got people in my program that's like a mom of two who just wants to keep up with their kids and hiking the weekends. So adventure means something different for everyone, but I've noticed that there are some foundational stuff that translates for everyone, whether or not you're doing something completely epic or you're keeping it closer to home and just trying to feel strong and maybe look strong too. Yeah. So resistance training, always strength training. No one ever said, oh, I just feel too strong today.
Yeah.
No, we want to feel strong. And a lot of us want to look strong too. We want visible muscles. We want to look like we work out. And that takes a real strength training.
Yes.
And it's got to be layered in with some movement. A lot of people measure general movement in steps, which is convenient and nice. Not necessarily dedicated exercise, but it's your movement throughout the day. Helps you stay sane, helps your recovery.
Yeah.
Helps your metabolic rate.
Totally.
And you got to learn how to eat in a way that brings you oral joy, shall we say, and also fuels the bod. That's what keeps you going. So there's just some foundational habits there that every single person needs to learn, regardless of how high they're shooting their goals.
Yes. And it seems like no matter who I have on the podcast or who I've talked to in my career, everybody works with a slightly different population and they niche down based on the goals that they feel most equipped to help people with. But universally, these are the things that everyone is saying. It's not just for adventure ready. It's not just for fat loss for the weight loss coaches. It's not just for being a solid runner. It's necessary for everything. And there's different little ways that that can look and different approaches you can take for individual goals. But the basics are across the board beneficial for people.
Yeah. And the basics are hard to sell because they're not sexy.
Yeah.
So that's when you get coaches out here going in on the grainy stuff, the granular, not helpful for most people kind of stuff that's not really going to move the needle. And so people focus on these tiny little things like, oh, isn't my blood glucose? Oh, should I be fasting? Oh, should I be? And it's like, you are not even strength training yet.
Yeah.
You're not even eating protein yet.
Yeah.
I've seen a person who has come to my program has been eating enough protein.
Yeah.
Many thought they were because like, well, I eat protein. It's like, just because you're eating some does that mean you're eating enough?
We have a population of people that are stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. They're picking up pebbles and not boulders. Those are things that will optimize your life potentially at the highest level of a percentage that you probably won't even feel in your day-to-day life, but you will feel 50% better if you just start strength training or if you just start moving more. So that sexy thing that you're chasing is not going to lead to any impact that you actually feel in your quality of life if you're not already covering the basics. Those are for the people who are already doing all the other things, right?
Yeah.
You already covered all the basics and now you just want to optimize a little bit more.
Yeah. And the people that we see that got those sexy bodies and they're doing those little tiny things to optimize, they are already doing this foundational and have been for decades. Decades. And that's how they got there. And now they can just mess around with like, oh, let's try fasting. Oh, let's try, I don't know, low carb for a while.
Hormone balancing smoothie.
Well, let me mess with my cortisol for a while. It's like, okay. All right.
It is tough when you are a coach who is selling the basics. They think that we're selling information they already know, but that's not what we're doing. Good coaches who are selling the basics are selling you an approach to consistency with the basics. You already know we're going to tell you to get more protein, strength train, move more. You already know that, but you're not doing it. And the coaching really is on, okay, how do we do it? And good coaches are really going to be selling you the things that are tried and true, that are meant to have a massive impact for the least amount of effort put into it. And they're just going to be really good at helping you be consistent at that.
A lot of people are going to be like, well, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it.
Yes.
I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and say you don't know what to do. And that's why you're not doing it. Perhaps. You don't know what to do in a way that feels aligned with you, and aligned with what you want, and aligned with how you want to live day to day.
Yes.
Like, sure, I could put you on a crash diet and make you do 6 HIIT workouts a week. Sure. No problem. Anyone can do that. Great.
Yeah.
How are we going to do this for the next 30 years, friendo?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I also think it's not necessarily a diet and exercise problem. It's a mindset problem. And I know that one that you're really talking about a lot is the exercise burnout. People get so sick of their own shit that they are like, immediately I must overhaul everything in my life and go on the most extreme diet and do the most extreme exercise workouts. And that's appealing to them because they're so frustrated with the position they're in life. But then it doesn't last. And it's inevitable that it doesn't last.
It kills me that at that point, too, they call themselves lazy. And that's what really hurts my little coach heart. Is like, oh, I'm just undisciplined, lazy piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I can't do this thing that clearly everyone else is doing and doing well and easily and no problem because we're all seeing the highlight reel and the sexy bodies. But a lot of it is physical burnout for people. This is a big one for me personally. I have so much empathy for this because I've done it many, many times. I've done the extreme. I tried all of it. I tried the minutia. I've done all of it. Okay. I've been 30 pounds overweight. I've been 14% body fat. I got it. I get it. Done it. It just creates this perpetual on-off cycle of trying really hard and burning, crashing, having to rest, calling yourself lazy, getting frustrated with yourself, maybe starting to resent the process, maybe starting to blame your body, which really hurts me because your body is always on your side. She always wants the best for herself and just trying to live her little body life every day. And so when we start to feel that physical burnout thing, there's always little red flags that come up. You start to like, oh, I'm a little sore today. I'm starting to sleep like crap. Oh, I'm dragging to my workouts. And then we start skipping workouts. We start thinking it's not worth it. So I have proposed that people turn that little on-off switch to a dial that they can then adjust as they're feeling, as those red flags pop up. And so even just the other day, I'm in my deload week, so it's only 2 sets of stuff, and I got a little coffee about it because it's only 2 sets. And so I upped the weight and the reps for every single lift. I was feeling it. Feel great. And then like later that night, I'm starting to fall asleep on the couch at like 8 o'clock. And I'm like, I'm really tired. And you were really tired. And the next day I'm like, oh, I'm really sore. Oh, okay. Might have dialed it up a little too hard. So going into it yesterday and today, I dialed it down a little bit. Okay, we're going to focus on getting some steps in, focusing on recovery movement, not pushing it, not going in there and just trying to slam the gas pedal down, which is so satisfying to do. I understand.
Yeah.
Completely. But it's not going to get me there.
Yeah, and I attract a lot of type A type women. They're really good at pedal to the metal in every aspect of their lives. And there's just a point in life where it just doesn't work and you realize it. It's a challenge to get people to dial back because they have created all or nothing mindset around exercise is only beneficial if I'm dead on the floor, dripping with sweat at the end of it. So then on those days where you wake up and you're like, shoot, I probably went a little too hard yesterday, or life was crazy yesterday. And you're looking at your workout going, for this to be beneficial, I'd have to give it 100%. And I can't today. Instead of doing the workout, they just skip it. And so I love this idea of on, off, all, nothing, being more like a dial. And how that gives you more choices and more options for success for that day. You don't have to do 100% and that's the only way that you can have success. You could do 30% and you'd still be checking the box. You'd still be doing the stuff. And that to me seems like a much more sustainable approach if every day you don't have to show up in the gym and bring your A game.
It does. And it also brings up this little cognitive distortion that these type of people have. It's like, well, if I don't do 100%, that's not enough to make progress.
Yeah.
Which is just false, objectively incorrect, false data. Fitness is cumulative. Okay. One workout is not going to get you to your goals. It has to be many workouts over time. And none of us are doing 100% every workout. None of the coaches, none of the trainers. No. We have lives. Okay. Shit hits the fan occasionally. We get knocked on our asses. Okay.
Yep.
And so a lot of the time I have to convince them to be like, okay, but we're still showing up because you are still doing something. I just had a post today that 7,000 steps a day is 46 marathons in a year. Just walk 7,000 steps a day, which is a pretty doable number for most people. It's not even 10K.
Yeah.
That person is going to be in better shape, in better health, in better mental space about themselves and their body than the person who's like, well, it's not worth doing steps.
Yeah.
It's not enough to make
progress. It's only 7,000. It's not 10,000. So it's not.
It's just
right. It failed.
Not even a hit workout.
Yeah. I call it stacking bricks. Every workout is a brick in the wall. And even if it's a smaller or less intense workout, it's still a brick in the wall. You're still stacking bricks. You're still building your foundation of fitness and health. And that mindset of it's not enough though. I'm not getting there fast enough. And that's one of those things that people pick up from the highlight reels is that this is going to be a fast process if I do it. Yeah, if I do it perfectly and then never an imperfect human being ever again thereafter, then I'll meet my goals. And it's just so hopeless because there's a 0% chance that shit's not going to happen sometime. And I love to work out. I love to run. I love to lift. I love to go hiking with my dog. I've skipped a lot of workouts. I skip workouts all the time, but more often than that, I half-ass my workouts. And absolutely, yes. And that's the dial, right? It's permission to half-ass your workouts.
That's a permission. I use that word a lot with my trainees. I'm like, give yourself permission to dial it back a little bit and know that that's okay and know that you are making progress.
Yeah.
And dialing it back can just be, I'm not putting as much weight on the bar. I'm doing less sets. Maybe I'm just going to make more of a deload, spontaneous deload. If it's really bad, if you're really dragging ass, then you can change that workout to just like a recovery workout, maybe some low intensity, gentle cardio, some yoga, but you're showing up for your movement practice that day. You're showing up for your body that day to support it. And then when people start doing this longer, they notice that their baseline shifts. So it's a higher baseline now. So when they're kicking ass and way up here, if they do fall, they fall to a level that is much higher than it was before. And they can keep continuing and get back into the process much faster and much easier. You can write the car when it's starting to go off.
Yeah. And health and fitness is a long game. So the people who are in it for the longest are rewarded the most, not the people who go the hardest, the people who do it the longest. So the game really becomes, how do I make this something that I can do for the long term? And if you have to rely on your discipline or your willpower to push you through really tough workouts all the time, you're not going to be doing this very long.
I think discipline can be very useful in certain aspects of your life. I think it's not useful when it comes to taking care of your body for the rest of your life. I think that creates resentment. If you have to like white knuckle your way into showing up and caring about your body that day.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's something else going on under there that needs to be dug into. If you're in a place where you're essentially taking your happiness and your health and making them in opposition to each other. I don't want to do these workouts. I don't enjoy these workouts, but I have to do them in order to be healthy. And now you've pitted two really important things in your life against each other, where it's always a choice between your happiness or your health. And it shouldn't be a situation where your health and your happiness are in opposition to each other. Right? So the whole idea of I got to white knuckle my way through things that I hate or things that are difficult or uncomfortable for me to a level that is causing me anxiety around it, that's never going to end up well if you have to keep toggling between the two. And I think a reason why people start to really hate exercise is because they think they have to do the things that they don't like to do, or they have to do them at an intensity that feels really unpleasant for them and they can't recover from. It doesn't work for their life or their goals. And so they are in this place where they feel like in order to do the things that are good for their health, they have to be unhappy.
Even though my program is 12 months long, so that we have this space to relax and absorb the process and internalize it and feel good and tweak things so that they align with how you feel every day. Even though they come in knowing that almost immediately, they're like, okay, it's time to buckle down. I was like, okay. Listen, there will be no buckling down. We're going to be confident and relaxed and we'll walk forward like at a reasonable pace together. And that's how we're going to do this. How can we make this sexy, Allison? How can we make this sexy for people?
If people could look inside of the programs that we run and see how incredibly life-changing it is to stop telling yourself that 100% is the only thing that's beneficial, and you see a year later what has changed in people's lives and how much more relaxed they are around health and fitness.
Measuring the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They're pinching inches. They're trying to look at what's changed externally, and they're now looking like, dude, you feel relaxed around food every day.
Yeah.
In a way that aligns with your goals, and you are comfortable with it. You feel great.
And you're not obsessing or stressing over the workouts that you're doing. They're just part of your life. It's just a thing that you do, like you brush your teeth, you would do a workout. The goal here isn't to make health and fitness behaviors or health and fitness habits take over your life. They should be here to enhance your life. So you don't need to do 2 hours of workouts every day. For most people who just want better health and fitness, a little bit compounded over time, repeated consistently, and strip the stress of having, oh my God, I can't do this forever. Like strip that away, hit the easy button. What can you do forever? And let's start there. And let's see how that compounds over time. And if people could see that, I think it'd be very sexy, to see the transformation in people, because that's why I keep doing this. That's what gives me juice every day, is looking into my community and being like, oh my gosh, these people are changing their lives. This is amazing. It's real sexy, I think.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the programs out there are selling the maximum tolerable dose for exercise and nutrition. And what we really want, if we dig one layer deeper, is the minimum effective dose.
Yeah.
It's the least I can do and still get there.
Yeah.
No problem. Instead of, again, white
Yeah.
chocolate.
And then if you have some seasons of your life where you have more to give, great.
Totally
If you have
fun.
seasons of
Great.
your life where you have less to give, great. It's all still bricks that you're stacking. Hey, you. I wanted to press pause on this episode for a second to talk about your fitness goals. Those sweet dreams of being more active and feeling athletic and confident and doing epic, adventurous shit. Or maybe you just feel like you're getting older, because we're all getting older. And you, like me, never want to give up on carrying all the groceries into the house in one shot, or picking up that heavy Amazon box without worrying that you're going to throw your back out. I know you're busy. You're probably listening to this episode while multitasking. Oh yeah, I'm on to you. And the biggest thing that's stopping you from getting strong and fit is knowing how to use your workout time most effectively. Like exactly which exercises are worth your time, when to do them, and the number of sets and reps to get to your goals. You probably also tried other fitness apps and programs out there, only to feel like they weren't right for your needs. You want a program that has it all: strength, power, cardio, mobility, and recovery, all built right in without spending your whole life in the gym. And you want experienced coaches around to answer your questions and a community at your back to help you stay motivated and inspired. Look, I've been coaching women for a long time now, and the truth is that you don't need another fad diet or complicated, time-consuming workout routine to support you as you age. You just need to train smarter with simple, progressive workouts and a plan that's designed for your body and your life, whether you're navigating motherhood, midlife, or menopause. And if this sounds like exactly what you've been missing, I invite you to join Stronger 365, a progressive strength, power, and conditioning training membership for women like you who are ready to stop winging it and take their training to the next level with more structure and support. And the best part? This program has 3 different options, so you can choose your own fitness adventure based on your goals, how much time you have to train, and what equipment you have, whether you've got access to a full gym or, like me, work out at home. And it's run by me, Allison Heilig, and my awesome team at Miles to Go Athletics. Head over to the show notes for all the details and to join our membership community. And as an FBG, your first 2 weeks are on me. And now, let's get back to the episode. So the dial method, let's talk a little bit about that.
It was an all or nothing crowd coming to me and just going hard and trying to overhaul their entire life. And even though I was telling them not to, I was like, no, let's pull the reins back a little bit. Most of my job as a coach is pulling the reins back. I think a lot of people. Some people need a little kick in the pants here and there, a loving kick in the pants, but we work on that together. They work on dialing things up. So this all or nothing thing, it was just really stopping people from making progress. And I was like, listen, we've established that this does not make the line go up. It makes the line just go straight down. So I was like, if we change this to a dial and you can just show up and, like I said, just adjust the work, you have permission to adjust the workout. Mm-hmm. Okay, you do not have to show up and do the exact prescribed workout. If you can, freaking great. Awesome. Have a great time. You're going to love it. And if you can't, you can knock it down. I show them how to knock it down, how to adjust it, how they should feel after each setting on the dial. So if we're knocking it down a couple, you should feel invigorated when you leave. Not feel, you shouldn't even feel exhausted when you're dialed all the way up to 11. Like, you should feel worked over. Like, oh man, I did something.
That tested me. Yeah, that pushed me. That tested me. Yeah.
But you should not be having to take a nap after your workout. And listen, I have been there. I have done it. I've been there many times. I completely understand, but that's not how you're going to make progress. That's just how you're going to be tired. I call it getting into the pit. When people dig themselves so deep, they end up in this dark and sad place where they're so tired and they can't show up for anything with energy or joy. And then they have to claw their way back out. Yeah, with a bunch of recovery stuff, and it's not fun.
Yeah, and I feel that pit is where people start to think that they are the problem. They are broken. There's something wrong with them. They're lazy. They're undisciplined. They end up in this place where, see, another thing didn't work. And then it's not the thing. It's the approach to the thing that it didn't work. The exercise is going to work, but you're going balls to the wall here every day and expecting yourself to do that. And that's completely unsustainable.
Yep. And then they're stacking evidence against themselves. See, look, I didn't do it again. See, look, there's another time. And that compounds over time. And your self-trust is just corroded over time. And then and now again, resentment happens and you hate the process. And now you're starting to look for like little stupid things that might be the one thing. Yeah, it's holding me back. It's my body. It's because I'm 46. It's like, no, nothing happened when you turned 46. Nope. That throws a switch. Happened. You're still good. I know. I ask my trainees if they do need to dial it back. I'm like, all right, what can you dial it to? What are we doing? And the answer has to be a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. No problem. Like, almost a little too easy. I could do this in my sleep coach. Great. Show me. Do that. This should feel stupid easy to show up for. If it doesn't feel easy, or at least on some level a little bit satisfying to show up for, then you haven't hit the right level on the dial. Yeah, for you.
And it sounds a lot like just overcoming that initial barrier. When you're feeling like garbage and you had a rough day at work and the kids are insane and you have this workout on the calendar, and a lot of times the reason to skip it is it feels so overwhelming.
Think about through the whole workout. You see the
Yeah.
workout and then you think about it and now you're exhausted just looking at
Like, this thing is going to take me an hour on a good day, even if I lighten the weights. So you have to hit the easy button. If you hit the easy button and you felt like I can go in and do this today and this would not be a problem, start there.
Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah.
Do that.
Well, what their least set? Like, what's your least setting? What is the rock bottom of still showing up? And so for some people, it's literally just, okay, I'm going to go do the warm up.
Yep.
And for most of us, after we do the warm up, we're like, all right, like,
Yep.
I can do this. And if not, if you can't do it, then cool, I'm going to change the workout to something a little different.
And that's my rule too. People always ask me, how do I, because I don't know, should I push through or should I suck it up? This is always a question. I'm like, you know what you do? You have a 10-minute rule. You start the workout, you do 10 minutes of it. If you feel worse at the end of that 10 minutes or no better, you stop. You call it. But most of the time, 99.99999% of the time, people are like, I can at least finish the workout, even if it means cutting the weights back or something. If you can at least make it through the first 10 minutes, usually that's enough to create better brain chemistry, get your blood flowing, all of the immediate benefits. We often harp on the long-term benefits of exercise, but there are some very, very, very acute and immediate benefits. And if you can get through that first 10 minutes, a lot of times you can start to feel them. And maybe that means you can do the rest of your workout. But if even that feels overwhelming, then we've got a problem.
And here's the thing. Once you get all your dials in, you're showing up and you're doing stuff, you're like, dude, I have been doing the least for weeks now because I'm exhausted. I can't get past that. It's like, awesome. Great thing to notice. Yep. That means we've got other stuff to address. Yeah. That means we've got some nutrition, probably some recovery, some sleep, some
stress management, boundaries,
got all these other things. And that's when like a coach and a program is really helpful because the structure's there, but what we do in the structure depends on the person at any given time.
And I think that's why it's hard for people to conceptualize that because with an individual coaching, when you're not in a group program, when you're in a more individual setting or in a group program like yours that is more customized and individualized, having that one coach there to help you create some sustainability with these practices, to help you navigate the inevitable ups and downs so that every time you don't get a workout and you don't see it as a personal failure and give up, you develop skills and systems and strategies for managing that better the next time. So it's an ongoing learning process that we're doing as coaches that's really the meat of what we do. You can get an exercise program from anywhere. You can download a nutrition program from anywhere and you can get them all for free. But are you going to do them on the long term? Because unless you develop some support and systems and skills and strategies around how to make this work for your life, you're not going to be in the game very long.
Yeah. Our job is not to hold your nose to the grindstone.
No.
It's not our job. I think people get that confused because that's kind of what a personal trainer's job is in the gym. A little bit.
Keep you focused, keep you on task.
Push it one more kind of thing. Once you get to the point where you want to learn how to do this on your own and not have someone stand next to you when you work out every day for the rest of your life, which is totally fine. Many people do it. Great.
Yep.
But if you get to the point where you want to do this independently, you will need to learn how to build your own routines and systems and see these red flags and navigate through them instead of just throwing in the towel.
Yeah. And I love this dial method as the system that you're sharing with your trainees of having something more quantitative about that. It's not just like we're winging it. There is still intention behind it. We're not saying, oh, you feel bad, so just whatever. It's not carte blanche to never show up for your workouts. It is still learning to be aware and read your own gauge, be present with what you're dealing with at the time, and then make an intentional choice to still do something in benefit of your health and fitness, but something that feels doable rather than just saying F it.
Exactly. I call it the old fuck it response. You throw your hands up, you're like, fuck this. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
as a raging hedonist, I've got to enjoy, to some degree, just everything that I do. Sometimes there's some stuff you got to do, but you've got to enjoy taking care of your body to some degree. I really want people to lean on a playful sustainability. This should be a little bit of fun, showing up, feeling strong, feeling good. And if you're not feeling good that day, you're supporting yourself through that, and that feels good.
When you start to see those benefits coming, and you start to see yourself becoming this person who can start saying yes to things and isn't as burnout by just getting around your daily life, that can be the thing that you enjoy. That can be the anchor in the process that really helps you to show up in those times when you're not enjoying?
Showing up does feel hard a lot of the time. I'm just gonna put as a normal thing. As a normal thing. And again, most trainers are like, no excuses and just discipline and you don't need motivation to show up. It's like, I mean, yeah, sure. Okay, fine. And also, I'm just gonna knock that to my least setting and stroll on in there and do the thing that feels easy, friendo. Oh man.
Yes, in my group, I talk about pivot, don't quit.
Yeah, right. Like pivot, like nimble, flexible, adapt, bend.
Yeah, okay. You go in to do your workout and somebody's on the weightlifting platform. Pivot. Don't walk away. Pivot. You're smart. Figure it out. You'll be proud of yourself when you're like, hey, look what I was able to do in spite of all of these obstacles, which makes it feel more empowering. You're like, I'm in charge. I can still pull something out of this.
And you are. And that's a good
Yeah.
point because a lot of people think they're not in charge. But you're in charge of your behaviors. We can do this.
And these are your goals. You're in charge of how much you're putting into them at any given time. No one is coming to smack you. That is not what I do. These are your goals, and you have to answer to that. You are in charge. This is your responsibility. I'm here to help you, guide you through that process, help you develop systems and skills and strategies. But yeah, you're in charge.
It should feel empowering. And that can also feel overwhelming when someone tells you you're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, now what? Now what do I do? And that's when a path, a structure of some kind is really helpful. And for the people who are like, I am showing up consistently, damn it, and I'm still stuck where I am. It's like, okay, great. I'm glad you got consistency on lock. That's wonderful. This is when programs and structures help because they're designed to move you forward. And that's what we do.
They do the first 6 months and then they're like, I'm stagnant, I'm stuck, I'm not progressing. When's the last time that you actually had a structure that was designed for progress? Are you on something that you've turned into autopilot? Because like the beautiful thing about the human body is that it adapts. So whatever you have it do all the time, it's going to lay down an insurance policy in case you ask it to do it again. And if you never increase that challenge, if you aren't doing it in a smart, systematic way, in a progressive way that honors the rules of exercise physiology, then you're not going to continue to see additional progress. And it is going to feel like you're putting all this effort in and nothing's changing. But that's not a flaw in the program. You've just grown to a point where what you're doing is not enough challenge to make your body change.
I love it when people come to me like, well, I'm doing what I've always done for the last 15 years and it's just stopped working magically. I'm like, okay, all right. You have adapted. Congratulations. Good job. You have a working functional body capable of evolution. That's great. We love it. Now it's time to pivot.
Yeah. If that's not enough, because there's a point where you don't need to take your fitness farther. If you're able to do all the things that you want to do in life, then absolutely rest on your laurels and maintain.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing.
My clients, his maintenance for whatever their goal.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you were living the dream.
Yes. I've just come out of a year of maintaining. My business is taking a lot. My personal life is taking a lot from me. So I just got to scale back what I'm doing and just focus on maintaining. And I'm just now coming out of that year and into this place where I'm going to start pushing again. But I think it's really important to know for people to know that sustainability, that having a body that's always ready to say yes to things, sometimes is about just maintaining your fitness. I didn't throw it away. I didn't walk away from my garage gym and stop running for a year. I did the bare minimum to maintain. And now that I'm coming back in and starting to train again, the comeback isn't so overwhelming because I didn't lose all my fitness. I'm still really capable. I'm just not competition ready. I train a lot ready, but it was fine for that year. I didn't have aches and pains. I'm hiking with my dogs all the time. I was able to live my life fully on maintenance mode.
You were on least. You were just hanging out on least. And that's the least keeps you from sliding backwards. Least maintains what you have. Least has you like feeling good about yourself mentally.
And I think this is really key. When people stop working out because their life is really full and stressful, the hardest part for people on the other side of that is clawing your time back from whoever took it from you in that time period. So that 30 minutes a day or 45 minutes a day that you used to devote to being active and taking care of your body doesn't just disappear. You give it to somebody else. You're devoting it to somebody else. And then when you decide, I want that time back, the people pleasers of the world have a really hard time clawing that back and putting a boundary in place around that. So for me, it was a lot about just preserving that time in my schedule Sometimes it was a longer walk with my dogs.
Sometimes I just walked to the park
Yeah.
and stretched in the grass, but I kept that 30 minutes.
Yeah. It's my time. And just walking to the park and stretching is going to have immediate and acute benefits of exercise that are going to help you with whatever it is that's taking over the rest of your life. Because for me, it wasn't really about physical training anymore. It was mostly about maintaining my sanity and my mental health and this feeling of confidence that even if I half-assed a workout or quarter-assed a workout, I was stepping away from the things in my life that were taking a lot from me. And it gave me this time to myself and for my mental health, because those things are important even if I'm not working out.
You changed the goal at that point, which I think is important to note, because some people think that their goal remains the same of like getting stronger, losing fat, da, da, da. It's like in these moments of chaos or crisis and you're dialing things back, your goal has now shifted. You are not chasing that. You are now, I'm going to maintain what I have. I'm going to show up and help my nervous system feel relaxed and calm. I'm going to move my body through its range of motion so I don't feel crunchy every day.
I've been sitting a lot, so I need to just get up and move. Maybe do one of these.
Yeah, the goal has shifted and you still have a thing to show up for.
Yeah.
Once I've pointed out to people that your goal has now shifted and you still have a thing to move toward, they're like, oh, okay. Now they don't feel like they still have this goal and they're just failing every single day.
Yep.
Like, no, we're over here now.
Yep. They'll say, I'm not making progress. I'm not making progress. Yes, you are, because your goal is different than it was. When I check in with my coaches every week, my behavior goal for the week, instead of being like, I will lift more weights or I will do more workouts or I will run more miles, was I will make decisions based on what's best for my mental health. And that meant a lot of times I skipped workout. But the goal was, don't lose your mind. You're going to be working a lot. High stakes. It's your business. So I've got a lot of skin in the game, and there are a lot of other things going on in my personal life at the same time. And it was like, stop putting so much pressure on yourself and just shift the goal to mental health is the biggest priority right now. Take care of your mental health. And sometimes that meant exercise. Yep. Sometimes that meant half-ass the workout. Sometimes that meant just go over here and lay on the floor with my dogs. But I was succeeding every day because I was being really clear about what my new goal was for this season of my life.
And what actions could contribute to that too. And I call it a nourishment menu. If you are in this space, you need to pick something that helps fill your cup a little bit. And sometimes it's laying and playing on the floor with a dog. Mm-hmm. That's on the list to check off. Like, good job. Pat yourself on the back. You did great.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And it works.
Yeah. And if I were sitting here going, I'm not competing in 50Ks, I'm not on the podium, if that were the bar I was measuring myself against during that time period, it would have felt like a failure. But I felt every day like I'm succeeding because I did. I showed up and I made, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I'd make a poor choice and my mental health would suffer. And then I'd be like, okay, that was a shit choice. Maybe do something different the next time. But every day at the end of the day, it still felt like a success. I still felt like I was honoring that mission. And of course I missed it. I'm watching everybody run races and do lifting and stuff. And I'm like over here just maintaining. But I was also working on a lot of other really important things that I was proud of. I think we need to normalize not trying to do 100% of everything all at the same time.
Or you're just like, oh, I'm just maintaining. But great. If you're at a place where you can just maintain, oh man, you're living the dream, because that means you got to the place.
Yeah.
And now you can maintain the place. Oh,
yes. So great. Yeah. This is good enough for now.
I'm in a place of lovely maintenance now too, where I don't have to think about what I'm eating. I can just eat how I want to eat, and it supports what I want to look like. I can work out in a way that feels good. That's not super difficult. And
we don't always have to be making progress.
And you actually can't.
No.
Like at some point, it's going to bite you in the ass. I had a coach say, hey, you know what another word for unchecked, unstoppable growth is? I said, what? He said, cancer. Busting out the big C on a coaching call. All right. Unchecked growth is not part of nature. It's not a part of balance.
It's not a sustainable approach. Thank you so much, Coach Mac, for coming on. I appreciate your sharing your experience and your expertise. This has been really helpful and fun. Just so people know, they can find you on your website, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to link to all of those in the show notes so people can find you easily. You also have a free resource for our listeners. So tell me about the Dial Method download.
That's the Dial Method we've been talking about. It teaches you how to build your own dial, what each kind of setting should look and feel like, what happens if you get stuck on least, what can happen if you are cranking along at the top setting most of the time, which is that none of us are at most all of the time. Okay. So I walk you through how to do all that yourself. And then if you find that you're stuck on least nutrition and recovery and program tweaks that might need to be made, and I always join my program to do that.
Great. So we're definitely going to link to that in the show notes. So that'll give people a chance to really get into it and see it. And then, of course, you have your Adventure Ready Academy. So tell me a little bit about that and who would be a good fit for that program.
Oh, man. Venture Ready Academy, we have a similar audience as active, adventurous women or ones who want to be more active and adventurous, and they want to do it in a way that's sustainable and feels good and prepares their body to just confidently say yes and get up and go, whatever that is, whether it's a hike, go play some tennis, go bouldering, whatever it is. You don't have to worry that your body is going to be the limiting factor there. Maybe your skill set, but not your body. You're good. I can go to surf camp and be confident that I can do that. It's a year long because I want to create the space to build a body that's resilient and strong in every plane of motion, build the nutrition habits that support that and feel good and sustainable for the rest of your life, and how to adjust. Because when I work with someone for a year, we go through a lot of stuff together. Big life events happen and we find ways to move through that and maneuver through that together. And that's what I freaking love about having a long-term program like that. Yeah. I'm more for the generalist and the recreational adventure person. It's that little middle ground. And more the generalist who want to feel strong and powerful in their body with the minimum effective dose to do that. I don't want my trainees to need me ever again. I want them to have all of the skills and the knowledge and how to apply it and how to adapt and how to do this forever when they're done with this.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Freaking pleasure. I love it. I love you. This is great. Thanks.
And that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Fit Bottom Girls podcast. But don't worry, we're dropping new episodes every Thursday. In the meantime, head over to the show notes for all the links from today's episode, or go to fitbottomedgirls.com/podcast to catch up on past episodes. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week.